that's something too, you guys, is that now is the time. Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate you saying that. And if you guys have any questions for Sam, please put it in the chat and Rivka will ask her. But, now is the time too. And everybody, and look at, we all know what's going on in the world. So I really give kudos to you guys for showing up tonight because it's still about you. This world will come back. This world will come back stronger. It may be a new normal, but you know what? It's going to be a better new normal for you guys, for the class of 2020, to be honest with you, because you have resilience and use that in your interviewing skills as well. And, there are companies, there's organizations called Next Gen HQ. They have coffee chats every Wednesday. It's a great way to start to network and just, hey, who are you? Well, I'm Zoe. I just graduated from Syracuse. I'm looking for this. It's a bunch of entrepreneurs who just on a Wednesday have a little coffee chat. And they also have opportunities on their website that you can apply for. There are jobs out there. And what's going to be great is when you get one like Sam did, if she was to get that same job now, she would be doing the job of 20 people, but she'd be able to raise herself much higher because they're not going to have, you're not going to be getting coffee for 2 years anymore. They're going to hire you and they're going to expect you to be doing the job of 20 people because there may be only 4 people in the department rather than 20 people that used to be in the department. But it's going to give you an opportunity to use your skill sets. That's why telling your story of all your skill sets are so important now because they're going to look for the person who's going to be capable of doing those 20 jobs. And then you're going to be able to move up much faster and be viable in that company. So there's silver linings, you guys, everywhere. When one door closes, 5 other ones open. Trust me, it will happen. Thank you, Sam. You guys,
no problem.
I'd love to open it up to some Q&A now and hear what you have to say and any questions that you might have.
And you all feel free to use the chat box. You're also welcome to just, since it's a small group of us, ask your questions out loud and have a dialogue.
Libby, let me ask you guys a question. What did you graduate in?
I'm actually graduating in something called entertainment management. So it's like specific towards a UCF major, but essentially like communications, just anything in the entertainment industry. I actually really want to get into production and video editing. I worked for radio as an intern, and then I was able to move up into programming for a classic rock radio station. And that was awesome because then I got to do some editing and production for that. And so then I actually left because I was supposed to study abroad this semester, but that got cut short. So now I'm working for a digital broadcasting company and doing more video than I would be audio. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, digital marketing is going to be obviously huge in the coming year and years and years from now. Because, it's interesting when I was talking to the Live Nation kids, so many of them love concerts and doing all the big concerts and live performance. And for right now, that's not happening. Yeah. So, but utilizing, if you've learned any of this, quite frankly, utilizing that kind of concept and bringing it into digital marketing or production and trying to, like all those performers who did things from home. Wow, that was like awesome, So you're really on a great path. And that's something we could talk about moving forward.
Yeah.
So what about you, babe?
So I graduated majoring with a BA in media and technology, but most of my internships, though they were short, most of them have been like PR, communications related.
Great. So is that an area you want to get into, PR and marketing for?
Yeah, probably to start. I do want to be in PR, or I heard marketing maybe a little bit easier my way into and then PR, but either one I'd be okay starting with. But I'm very entrepreneurial, so I kind of want to take my love for communication and speaking to people and being a people person, just take that and my love for fitness and do my own thing. But I can't do that until I kind of get settled with a job. So I think I do want to start with marketing.
Well, how about a PR marketing company that deals with fitness?
That would be ideal.
Correct. So that's something that you want to think about for next time, babe. Maybe look up some companies like Shape Magazine or those kinds of magazines that do, marketing and do a lot of things. Like I know Hearst Corporation, that has a lot of the magazines. I know somebody who works there. They're the only, I'm not saying the only company, but they're one of the only companies that did not lay off anybody during this whole virus, and in fact got raises during this time.
Wow.
And again, marketing, PR, it will be happening, but just in a different way. So Zoe, for you, what I'd like to see is you coming up with some ideas of how fitness, PR and marketing and fitness, come up with an idea that they can be brought into a company like Hearst or Meredith Corporation and say, I've been thinking this, or I did something at college that I think could be really great bringing it into this company. You always want to bring value. I was speaking to a client today and he was like, I asked these questions. He goes, well, I want to learn and I'd like to learn. We'd all like to learn, but this is not the time to go into a company and say, I want to learn. Not happening. You got to go into a company and say, this is what I'm thinking. I'm bringing a thinking into this company, just like Sam did. Sam had done some amazing things at school, putting on plays. And so why don't you talk a little bit about that, Sam, just to get you guys ideas of maybe some things that you can think about. And then how to turn that into a story for work, for job interviewing.
Yeah. I had a couple good stories from previous experiences. I mentioned solo backpacking as a woman through Southeast Asia, I think. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But I mean, I did say that I've been to 24 countries already, and a lot of them I visited by myself. And I think it's just made me such a more flexible and globally minded thinker. And so if I was at the company and we were trying to tackle an issue and we were facing a roadblock, I would be somebody who could think of an alternative solution and think around that and myself on that. And then I guess, one of the plays I talked about was for this, it was through Greek life at the school, and it was raising a lot of money for charity for a local charter school. And I just talked about how I wrote the script, I directed it. It was a musical, a family-friendly musical, and so many moving parts had to come together, and I was in charge of all of them. We had to get musicians on board, actors, people built the set, costumes, lighting, all the different elements that went into it. So I tied that, with the job being like, I can tackle a campaign or a larger project and be aware of all the moving parts involved and have the attention to detail that's needed to really execute. Stuff like that.
So see how your background and your what you've done created into a story becomes very engaging. And she said it in a different way, but like really elaborated on it. And then she had all the images that we put into her portfolio that illustrated that too. Do you guys have things that's also very important today, you guys, is visual? Any, like Zoe, when you've worked in any kind of PR or whatever, things that you've written, placements that you might have gotten in magazines. Libby, for you, the kinds of things that you've done, you might want to think about like more of a portfolio that shows different things that you guys have done, because that's very important. And just wrapping this up is really like the whole enchilada. You just want to bring the whole enchilada to your interviews. And that really, and we're going to go into this next week, is the assessment of desired interest in your careers and preparing kind of like an action plan from your to-do list, because if it hasn't been written, it hasn't been said. So you can think about all these things, but we want to write these stories out. And we analyze this through some of these questions, which are based on your career, your personality, and behavioral assessments. We define your story and we present it as career choices, desires. And then we break it out and determine your best to tell which story goes with your personalities, because showing your personality is huge. And we want to prepare for the awkward moments and how you can overcome those, and to down how you dress the part. And most importantly is networking. How I want to teach you guys networking in different groups to become a part of. And also something that Sam and I really worked on and all my clients do is that email correspondence. How many of you guys work LinkedIn, use LinkedIn? Do you know how to use it well? Because I will be having a guest on that is a LinkedIn expert. How you go to maybe 2 or 3 years outside of school that are in your desired realm, if you will, of interest, and how you can connect to those people and the right way to write an email to be introduced to. And, you know, today we talked about, or, you know, we've talked about interviewing and informational interviews. Well, today there's ways to turn that informational interview into actual interviews. I mean, that informational interview that I had set up, the girl from Syracuse, the client, a year later, the guy from the VP of Epic Records contacted her to see if she still needed a job. She didn't need that job, but then he said, could you recommend people? So it's very important to stay in contact with the people and the right and the wrong way to do it. So I want to teach you that, because also today it's very intergenerational. Today jobs, again, are not working for people. It's how you work together. Similarly, the girl I was mentioning again, she had written to another person I knew who was the VP of Casablanca Records. I have it here, or something like, you know, Casablanca Records. He had just, during this time of coronavirus, he's sitting there looking through emails. He's like, oh, just wondering if you got a job yet. She goes, yeah, I'm working for the Futuristics. It's a music company out in LA that puts producers, writers and producers together and songwriters. He's like, oh, I'm looking for a client of mine to be doing that. So all of a sudden, last year, oh my God, to work for the president, the VP of you know, a record company now has become her ally and her co-padre in working together. This is the opportunities that exist today, you guys, for the class of 2020. Is there any other questions that you guys have for Sam or for myself?
I have one thing to add, actually.
Yeah.
I would say in the hyper-specific stories that you come up with, maybe I could give one example that, yeah. Okay, so I just really saw the power of thinking of it really like a story with a beginning, middle, end, and you have some kind of issue and then how you resolved it. Meaning like a problem that the company was facing and how you stepped in to help. So at one of my jobs, I was working at a branding agency, and for example, the client wasn't super on board with the color palette that we presented. So we looked at the colors and we realized they had these really abstract names like, you know, sienna brown and whatever blue that had nothing to do with their brand, but their brand was a health and fitness brand. So we're like, or health and wellness. We're like, okay, why don't we just kind of tweak these colors a little and rename them Zen, peace, beauty, restoration. Name the colors, things to do with the brand. And suddenly, even though we barely changed the colors, the client loved the color palette. So little stories like that where it shows how you rose to a challenge and you kind of thought differently about it, or you went the extra mile to turn things around, I think are really, really great. And like the specifics, and yeah. Or it could be something like, oh, well, I redesigned the company newsletter. It was really outdated, the design, and so I designed it in a certain way, and the open rate increased by 2% from, you know, 5% opens to, or it increased from 5% opens to 8% opens, which is a huge jump, and, you know, be able to sort of quantify it if you can.
Exactly. Like, do you guys have Instagram, or have you done anything on social media where, Zoe, for instance, with your fitness thing, and you know how you said you changed your body, have you done that on social media, showed people how you did it? Do you send messaging out regarding it?
Well, the process started well before I was on social media, but I'm still in the process of transforming, so I do upload videos and tips and recipes for healthy eating and stuff like that.
And what is your social media following?
I had 2,000. I believe I have like 2,000 now. About.
Zoe!
Great.
Now, would you ever have thought, before I mention this, would you ever thought of telling something like that?
No.
Exactly. Bingo. Bingo. That is an amazing story. I want you to flush that out for next week. You bring that into a company or to a Shape magazine or to a fitness kind of company. Look, there are so many Instagram influencers right now. Melissa, I mean, I follow all of them. How easy would it be for you to Twitter with them or follow them on Instagram and say, hey, this is what I do. I built this. I'd love to work with you. I mean, it's so exciting, you guys, the abilities and the things that are out there, the entrepreneurship abilities that you have. So isn't that incredible? You would not have thought that as a story, but as Sam and I just said that to you, or Sam had said that, and I brought that up, boom. That's amazing. And Libby, how about you, babe? Like what you've been doing? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, no, I just got the guts to start a YouTube channel because I like to edit. And so I've done that, and then I started a Wix website, kind of like a portfolio that has all my blogs I wrote for the radio station, audio production, and video production. So as I continue with the broadcasting company, I want to add the links to the video production tab. And so pretty much just right now, just a YouTube channel and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And then the Wix site that I just created.
You guys, you are absolutely on your way. I love what I'm hearing. And we are going to flush that out more. So this week, your assignment is to do a to-da list. And we just to-da'd Zoe and Libby, you to-da'd as well. So congratulations on to-da'ing. And so I want you to put it all out. And then look at it and see what things you can bring into your strengths, your weaknesses, and those questions. And we will hopefully come up with a few stories for next week. And that'll be awesome. Thank you all. I really appreciate this time sharing with you. And it's going to be fun.
Thanks,
Thank
Deborah.
Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
Meet you all.
Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. And that was a really, really great session. Thank you for being here. I hope you, I'm looking forward to hearing those stories. Thank you, Deborah. That was incredible. And we'll see you all next Tuesday at 7:30. And please, if you have any friends who you think this might be valuable for, please invite them. We have 3 more sessions, so I know we're going to get even deeper. We will be sharing a recording of tonight's session so they can easily catch up. Yeah, spread the word. Thank you.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, before you go, Libby and Zoe, I want to just tell you, so I've got Shira, who's going to be doing about LinkedIn. One of the nights on June 16th, I'm going to have Ted Candela, who's the VP of Merrill Lynch, to talk about what he looks for in terms of finding people, and also the manager of House of Blues Music Forward, DeMarco White from Live Nation, is going to be on telling his story and what he looks for when they're hiring people for Live Nation, House of Blues, etc. And then I've got Mike Miles, who worked at CBS and does a lot of digital marketing for CBS. He did the Grammy Awards. So a lot of right up your guys' alley, entertainment, fitness, all of that. So I hope you'll keep coming back because I think you'll get some great information and some great networking.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all. Thanks for coming. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next week,
Thank you.
Tuesday night. Thank you. Invite a friend or two. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you,
Rivka
Melanie.
and Melanie. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.